Do you want to talk about how the Mavericks beat the Heat, and that's sweet, and they've won 4 of their last 5, and the only one they didn't win, they lost by 1 point in overtime, or do you want to talk about the other thing that we found?
All right, let's start with the fun part then. The fun part is this team of, I'm not even going to say misfits, because they weren't even cast off as misfits. They were just a bunch of people that have been collected. And somehow Jason Kidd's like, yeah, we're gonna play great basketball, guys. We're gonna figure out ways to win basketball games. We're gonna stay close. Kessler Edwards actually is gonna hit 3 of 4 3-pointers.
Like Kessler Edwards.
Play phenomenal defense for me. What's going on with this guy? Max Christie seemed like he was 1 for 100 from 3 yesterday, but even still, there's a thing about his defense. There's a quality about him that you're just like, man, I love the youth. The way they have to play right now is they have to run. Their style is they have to run. So you're not going to get Kyrie and Klay on back-to-backs because of the way that they're having to play basketball.
Sure.
But whenever they can go out and put that kind of roster, that kind of lineup out there, and they're getting offensive points, they're playing really good defense, I got to give Jason Kidd and his staff a ton of credit for getting them ready. And the line, I think it was Kyrie that said, there is a lot of noise, but in here we're focused on the game each night.
Okay.
And that's a big deal, man. It's very difficult when people are asking you lots of different questions about how are you ever going to get by without Anthony Davis? How are you ever going to get by without Luka? And all these things. And then you got to go out and execute and play a game. I got to give Jason Kidd a ton of credit for keeping the thing. And that is what's on the court.
And just for the record, you can still be happy about the way they play and still be upset about the trade,
Absolutely.
right? Like those can be.
I still miss Luka.
Sure.
Last night, as I was rolling through TikTok, I saw him headbutt a ball backwards to Austin Reeves, and Austin Reeves was like, "Holy crap! What did you just do?"
Do you miss Luka more than he misses 3-pointers?
But like when I saw it, I was like, "That's the Luka we get. Like that's the Luka I'm gonna miss. The fun, the dude that loves playing just." Goofing around and playing basketball because he's that good at it. But there is this part of you that's like, did that rub off on everybody else? Maybe they got a little distracted because they saw their guy going out there and doing it. Maybe they couldn't focus too. I don't know.
Have you caught up in the fever of angry people because Jason Kidd said the guy that we did have here, everything ran through him instead of saying Luka? A lot of people on social media have time on their hands, and they are very upset about this.
That is an interesting dismissal of his name. Like, why would he not say? I guess because he doesn't want to remind people.
I don't know. At this point, couldn't you see the Dumonts handing down?
Like we're not supposed to say Mike's name after he leaves.
We're not.
Yeah, that's what the boss told us in that meeting the other day. He was like, once he leaves, never say his name.
I do not remember that.
You refer to him as that baseball guy or something.
Oh, okay.
Voldemort.
Yeah. He who is not spoken about.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'll keep that in mind. But the Mavericks win, and they win again. You got some of the Kessler Edwards show, which is weird.
Dude, Dante Exum was your leading scorer. What?
As we all predicted.
Again, and somebody just texted in, there's a lot of movement. There's team defense. It looked like college basketball at one point last night. It really did. The way that they were moving defensively, I was like, this reminds me of college. And all these players are kind of right on that edge of being, are they real NBA players, or are they just, they're out of college and they're on this roster? It did look like it at times, but it was fun.
But I can't let anybody get too excited about this.
I know. I keep trying to avoid it.
Because we have no bigs, and the news came out last night, I do believe. And I don't know about you guys. I definitely said a curse word as part of this, but I'll change it to sigh. Are you freaking kidding me? When I saw the headline that, remember how we talked about Daniel Gafford would be reevaluated in 2 weeks, and we said that doesn't mean he'll be out 2 weeks, he'll just be reevaluated. We got the report from last night from Shams. Grade 3 sprain of the MCL in his right knee. He will be out at least 6 weeks. At which point I quote tweeted Sharanya and said, please stop reporting about my team.
Yeah.
Because
what's
everything
your deal,
you write is devastatingly sad.
Yeah. Remember whenever he gave us the Rondo trade? And he called into our show and we talked about it for a little bit?
Yes, actually I do.
And that was
all
bad.
Downhill.
Yeah, it was bad news there too.
All downhill.
Come on, Shams.
And so now you're looking at what? Probably best case scenario, any of the bigs come back in a month?
Right. And, okay.
So I'm excited
What's
won.
a month from now?
March 14th?
March 14th. How many games you have left after that?
I would have to look.
Okay, let's pull up the schedule, Kevin. Let's go find the Dallas Mavericks schedule.
I'm looking at it right now.
How many games we have left after that?
You have like 15?
15 games. You're currently in 8th place right now.
14.
14 games? Today's
That's
February.
not a bad guess for just eyeing it.
Today's February 14th. You got to stay afloat in that 8 range until then, at least. Because I can't guarantee that they're going to be back then either. But you got to stay afloat. This team, these guys, they're working hard. You think that they can't do it?
Can I just play devil's advocate?
They beat the Pelicans.
Neat. Can I just play devil's advocate for a minute? You say they need to. Do they?
Okay, explain.
All right, so
I think once you get the
Derek,
bigs, that's a couple of those bigs back, I think you're a really good playoff team.
But that's what makes me nervous. Derek Lively might come back at the end of March, beginning of April. Daniel Gafford's now going to come back at the end of March. Anthony Davis might just have avoided surgery, and they're like, let's see if we can wait a little longer and see if things take care of themselves, and then maybe we'll have
That usually works out.
Yeah, that always. And then maybe we'll just have to go ahead and announce surgery anyway, so you're not getting a lot of those players back until the end of March. So I'm just asking, I get it from a playoff perspective, what you're saying, but from another perspective, are you like, look how easy it would be to just tumble down just a little bit and get a draft pick. This is a deeper draft than last year, a way deeper draft than last year.
We're in flag is next year?
No, yeah.
Flag's this year?
Flag is this year's draft.
You're not getting flag this year. It's not happening.
You're right. Except for that tiny 2% part of me that believes, hey, if the person I'm not supposed to speak about, whose name is Mike, is allowed to believe.
You can wait until 2 weeks from now.
Okay.
Yeah, you're fine there.
If he can believe in the conspiracy theory that the NBA, not like forced, but kind of wanted the Mavericks to do this, and the Adelsons don't really care, and they just want to get gambling accepted and all that. I can believe in the conspiracy theory that the NBA really wanted this to happen for the Lakers, and they said, but if you can miss the playoffs, we'll take care of you with Cooper Flag.
All right, and if that's the case, I'll accept it.
Yeah.
If that's the case. I just don't believe that Jason Kidd's not going to try his best each night to have those guys ready. And the way that these guys are, they're looking at it as this is their chance. A lot of them are G Leaguers that are like looking at it, like Kessler Edwards was a G Leaguer. Brandon Williams was a G Leaguer. You see that play he made last night, that pass that he made? That was awesome. And so these guys are looking at it going, this is my opportunity to shine, and I got a coach that's giving me the freedom to do it.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where I think
see more of a run of Omax.
Yeah, I think that's these guys that are athletic and long and bouncy are very excited to be out there. Now, will people pick up on what they're doing at some point, and good teams pick them apart? Probably so. You go up against a Denver, that's going to be a struggle. You go up against a very talented Oklahoma. Well, you go up against the Celtics. Maybe it's a different story after. We saw what happened when we were in New Orleans. They look pretty good. But I'm very interested to see what they can do to keep this team afloat until they get their serious pieces back. And
you know how we can have fun with stats.
And then your depth. When you get those guys back, your depth looks amazing.
See, this is where I'm conflicted. Because somebody texted in, to be fair, Anthony Davis is going to be back in 3 weeks. I don't know if I think that's the case. When you hear rumblings that he might have just avoided surgery and they're going to wait it out a little bit, it feels like, is he? Yeah. Or do they know deep down he probably needs surgery, but they want to space it out from the trade as far as possible as to not take the massive PR hit that's inevitable. Derek Lively, look, he can come back maybe at the end of March. Daniel Gafford, he can come back maybe at the end of March. But if I knew, that's the tricky thing about injuries. If I knew Daniel Gafford had gone on a 3-week hiatus to find himself, and then I'd be like, okay, he'll be back in 3 weeks. But I don't know if he'll actually be back in 6 weeks, and that's the trouble. Mm-hmm. Because if you could tell me end of February, Anthony Davis is back, and you just got to hold tight until the end of March, when both of your other bigs come back, I would be like, let's effing go for it. But I don't know any of that. So part of me, I don't want them to stop fighting. But part of me wonders, would it be the worst thing in the world to see them just drop, and hopefully everybody comes back healthy next year. You got another pick, or you use that pick to make another trade, or whatever the case might be, and then you can go all out.
I feel like there is a part of the fan base, Alec, that is hoping for that because they want bad for the franchise. Like they're upset with the franchise.
Can I make clear I am not in that category? I just want this for the draft asset and the ability to make your team better, because you're 100% right. I still love the Mavericks, even if I'm really mad at them right now. They're like a family member to me, you know? Like, I'm so mad at them, but like, they're still...
I'll welcome you back in my home.
They're still my brother, so I'm like still going to root for them. So I'm just saying I would be okay with that strictly from a draft perspective, not from I want this team to fail because I hate the trade perspective.
Yeah, I think that there is a group that's in that mindset, another group that is like, all right, let's start looking forward. And I think there's another piece of them that's a group out there that's saying, let's hold on to this as long as I can. We got an all-star break to relax. How many of our one guys going? So
yes.
You like the
As
rest of the group, take a breath and let's check this whole thing out. Jason Kidd's going to be sitting there trying to come up with a new plan, for the next month or so to see how things go.
All right. Somebody texted in that Max Christie needs more love. So let's have some fun with numbers here. Are you ready?
Ooh, fun with numbers is not as fun with flags, but I like it.
Ooh, I might be able to change your mind about that. All right. So Max Christie, going back to his last game with the Lakers, has now scored at least 15 points or more in 7 straight games, and all 6 of his games with the Mavericks. There we go. Since the trade of Luka Doncic, Max Christie is averaging more points per game for the Mavericks than Luka is for the Lakers. And that is a stone cold
scoregami.
Fact.
Oh, I thought it was.
I mean,
man. My bad. I missed that one.
But that's a fact.
Dude, that's awesome.
So who really won the trade?
We did. Obvious.
I'm just kidding. People, relax.
Not only did we get Anthony Davis, and we moved on from Markieff Morris, who said, hold on, somebody wanted me?
It's a money thing.
Yeah, we got to move on from that. Now we got a future star, who I think is actually going to be around for a minute, man.
See, and actually, I'm with you on that. Again, this is the thing. I always like the way Reggie phrased this. 2 things can be true that almost seem like they're kind of at odds, and you're allowed to be like, I don't like the trade still because I think you could have gotten more assets. But then you look at Max Christie, it's a small sample size. I get it. It's a really small sample size. But you look at it and you're like, hey, he could be like a legitimate player with us. He's worked his way up. I know he's a 2nd-round pick, but 3 years in, he started half the games this season for the Lakers. Now you see he is entrenched as one of the main guys for the Mavericks, and it seems like he's really doing a good job with his opportunities, both offensively and defensively. If you want to tighten up the 3-point shooting a little bit, I hear you on that. But
they have a lot of freedom, though, to shoot like that. So,
and he turned 22 earlier this week. So that doesn't mean I have to like you got 1 draft pick.
And
back.
he's not Luka. Like that is a reality.
For sure.
That is a reality.
For sure. But
he's a blast to watch.
It's one of those things where I'm not saying it will play out like this, but at least you see hey, do I feel good about Max Christie? He's super young. I know he gets hurt, and we're still worried about that. But could you feel good about Derek Lively? We've been up and down with Hardy. You're starting to see more from Omax. Not saying anything bigger than that, except for while you do have older players like Kyrie, like Anthony Davis, maybe they are trying to build the underneath with some of the younger talent to be able to pick up the ball.